Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Sean sent me notes, and Steve, check this out. California's got a new rule about who can ride where in a car, and the question is, how much safety do we need to legislate these days? NewsChannel10.com ran the story. Jordan Gartner wrote it. California bill could keep some teens from riding in the front seat until they are 16 years old. Teens in California could be banned from riding in the front seat of a car if a new bill gets approval. Many outlets are reporting that AB 435 passed its first committee hearing with the Assembly Transportation Committee voting in favor of the bill. It would require all children under the age of 10 to use booster seats and ban children under 13 from sitting in the front seat. Additionally, teens up to 16 years old would also be banned from the front passenger seat unless they meet certain height requirements. So I guess the question now is, you're driving down the street and there's someone in your passenger seat and a police officer looks over and goes, I wonder how tall that kid is. So does the police officer then have to pull you over and have the kid step out and then have them stand up against something with their back straight and then measure it and mark it? Coordinator with Safe Kids Greater Sacramento says she is a supporter of the bill. The national recommendations have been updated for a while. States like Louisiana and Minnesota already have a law similar to this. Now, I will admit I had not heard that before. So I guess if the bill passes, there will be 3 states, California, Louisiana, and Minnesota. KGO reports that kids in California currently must stay in the back seat in a car, sitting in a car seat or a booster seat until they turn 8 years old or are taller than 4'9". Democratic Assembly member introduced the bill while sharing national statistics showing child injuries and fatalities in crashes have increased since the pandemic, with children aged 8 to 12 being disproportionately affected. According to her, vehicle restraints and airbags are generally designed for adults. Now, that is true. That is true. And in fact, I remember hearing cases where certain cars that did not have adjustable steering columns would be aimed at such a way that if a person was really short, the various dimensions inside the driver's compartment would cause the airbag to injure a short driver, quite often disproportionately compared to taller drivers. But that's a long time ago. KTLA reports that this bill has the backing of several health and safety groups, including the Automobile Club of Southern California and a children's hospital. Violations are said to carry a $20 ticket for the first offense and $50 for each subsequent violation. If the bill becomes law as it continues to make its way through the California state legislature, it would take effect in 2027. And it raises a variety of other questions. Because, of course, when you're looking at a kid sitting in a passenger seat, can you tell if they're 15 or 16? Because that's a cutoff point. Likewise, can you tell how tall they are? That's another thing. And then, of course, we have the situation where what if your vehicle doesn't have back seats? I mean, I know this might come as news to some people, but there are some cars that are what we call two-seaters. They've only got 2 seats. And I'd have to imagine that the 2 seats are considered front seats. So to give you an example, I have a car that's what that model's based off of. It's a Viper. It only has 2 seats. Now, interestingly, at the other end of the spectrum, which is what I'm calling my bookcase now, is hard to see, but it's back there. And that is an AC Cobra. Now, I've got a replica, backdraft replica Cobra that I got about a year and a half ago. And it likewise also only has 2 seats. Now, it's got safety harnesses and stuff. It's got a roll bar, but it does not have a back seat. So I guess if I was in California, I could give rides to certain people, but they'd have to be over a certain age or over a certain height. And then I guess the real question is, what if you're short but 16? That means that you are allowed to ride in what we are now deeming an unsafe place in a car. Now, I know some people are saying, Steve, you can't just sit here and poke holes in this law because overall, generally speaking, it does good things. It very well might. But I will admit that one of the things that I have a problem with is simply the creation of more laws. And the more laws we have, the harder it is to know what they all are, and the harder it is to follow them. But it also makes it easier for police to pull somebody over. And all they need now to pull somebody over is go, I saw somebody in your passenger seat, in the front seat, who looks too short or too young to be sitting there. Now they have a valid reason to pull somebody over. The person gets out of the car and they're taller than whatever the cutoff is. Oh, okay. Well, I couldn't tell from my car how tall that passenger was. And so I'm not a big fan of that either. But I will admit, if this law passes and lives are saved, then it will do good. The one thing I'm always curious about is when they say it was done in other states. 2 other states, Louisiana and Minnesota, have passed a law similar to this according to this report. The question is, has it accomplished anything? Because I assure you that there are people out there who are in favor of this, who've been watching those 2 states as an experiment. And if good things are happening, then what you do is you announce that and say, California has a bill to keep some teens from riding in the front seat until they're 16 years old because it has been proven to save lives. And if somebody says, oh, yes, that we have the evidence on that, we have statistics on that, then I look at this and go, oh, okay. And I mean, I've seen some stories. I've seen some examples. I've seen some, where they announce something, they go, we're going to make this change because it has this effect. And the first question I have is, how do you know that? Because it's been done over here and it worked. And you go, oh, okay. But that is actually missing from this story because you might notice I didn't turn the sheet of paper over. It's blank on the other side. So I have people in the audience who had noticed that. Steve, I noticed that. I noticed you didn't flip that piece of paper over. And I didn't. The story's just that. It's just that. There's going to be new rules regarding what age you can ride in the front seat. Before that, you guys sit in the back. And also the height requirement for the front seat. So I suppose in many respects, this is kind of like your car now becoming a ride at Disneyland. You must be this tall, up to here. You must be this tall to ride this ride, at least in the front seat. So we'll see what happens. But it is kind of hard to keep up on all these laws without a scorecard. But I do remember, for instance, when they first mandated seatbelts. That is, they mandated that you wear a seatbelt. And I remember people freaking out about that. But they had data on that. They had data that said, look, the use of a seatbelt in a car will benefit you in the event of an accident or crash, whichever it is you want to call it. And so, I understood the argument there. It's always the personal liberty versus, community safety. I understand that. So we'll see what happens here. But the bill right now is still up on Assembly Hill in Sacramento. We'll see if it passes. But that's newschannel10.com. Jordan Gartner wrote it. Sean sent it. Thanks a lot. California bill could keep some teens from riding in the front seat until they are 16 years old. Questions or comments, put them below this. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Sarcasm. It's how I hug.